You win your first $500 online tournament on a hand-me-down monitor, then 3 years later you are shaking before a contract that pays less than your old part-time job per hour. Level 1. The ladder nobody sees. You are about 13 to 16, sitting too close to a screen, telling yourself you are just playing games when you are really auditioning for a life you do not understand yet. Your setup is a patchwork miracle. A used computer in roughly the $600 to $1,000 range if your family can swing it, or a console and a budget headset if they cannot. One scuffed mousepad. One chair that was never designed for 8-hour sessions. Your parents think this is a phase. Your friends think you are cracked. You think raw skill is the whole story. It is not. You are learning a competitive title the hard way. Not just mechanics, but timings, map control, economy management, cooldown tracking, communication, tilt control, sleep deprivation, and the very strange art of sounding confident while you are absolutely guessing. You queue ranked after school. You watch better players at night on Twitch or YouTube. You copy settings from someone famous and immediately play worse. Classic. Your first humiliation comes early. You join a small online tournament, maybe a community bracket with a $10 or $20 entry fee, maybe free. You are certain your ranked badge means something. Then a coordinated amateur stack dismantles you in 20 minutes and you realize solo ladder skill is not the same as team play under pressure. One rival player types "good try" and somehow makes it hurt more. There is no money here yet, or almost none. Maybe $50 from a local event. Maybe nothing but an in-game skin and a screenshot. But this is where obsession hardens into structure. You begin tracking your own play. You save replays. You stop blaming random teammates for every loss. You learn the first law of esports careers. Almost nobody gets paid to just love the game. You have to become useful, visible, or both. That thought pushes you to the next door. If ranked is not enough, you need a name somewhere people can actually see. Level 2. The streamer with 0 viewers. You are around 16 to 18 now, and your room starts looking less like a hobby corner and more like a tiny production studio. You download broadcasting software, you prop up a cheap webcam, you buy a $50 to $100 microphone because you heard bad audio kills channels faster than bad gameplay. You go live to 2 viewers, one is your friend, one is probably you on your phone checking if the stream works. You believe consistency will be rewarded automatically. Just grind, go live, clip your best plays, and the audience will come. The hard lesson is uglier. Platforms do not owe you discovery. Being good at a game does not make you watchable. Being loud does not make you entertaining. And if your only personality trait is, "I want this really bad," the internet has seen that before. So you start learning another game entirely. Attention. Titles, thumbnails, short clips, social posts, Discord communities, tournament announcements, patch reactions. You begin to understand why so many esports careers are not actually about playing. The industry runs on content, community, scheduling, sponsorship, event operations, editing, design, sales, coaching, psychology, and 100 other invisible jobs. Less than a small slice of the industry is direct competition. Money is still thin. Maybe you earn your first $100 from small donations, a local win, coaching a beginner for $15 an hour, or affiliate links that pay for exactly one replacement mouse. But the emotional stakes rise fast. You are now publicly trying. That is different. Your family can tolerate playing. They get nervous when you start saying words like brand and roster. Then you meet a captain from a scrim server, or a college club recruiter, or a low-level organization manager in direct messages. They do not care about your excuses. They care that you show up on time, answer messages, and do not melt down after one bad map. For the first time, someone treats you like a possible teammate instead of a random queue demon. That opens the next door. Level 3, the amateur with receipts. Now you are on a real roster, even if real means unpaid, unstable, and held together by a shared calendar and a mutual delusion. You scrim 3 to 5 nights a week. You have a logo on your profile, you have teammates in different time zones. You have your first captain, your first argument over roles, and your first manager who is basically another exhausted player pretending to be an adult. You believe talent will sort out the hierarchy. Instead, you learn that amateur esports is a graveyard of talented people with terrible habits. The team that wins is often the one that reviews mistakes, keeps comms clean, and replaces ego with process. You start using replay review tools, stat sites, spreadsheets, maybe something like Mobalytics or game-specific trackers if your title supports them. You have a 144Hz monitor now, maybe even 2. Your setup costs more than it should, and none of it guarantees rent money. This stage can still pay almost nothing. Some amateur teams cover entry fees. Some give tiny stipends, maybe $50 to $300 a month. Some pay in merchandise and vibes. A decent weekend online tournament might net a few $100s split 5 ways, which is a great way to discover how little placing can mean after taxes, fees, and platform cuts. You also discover contract language before you have any business signing contracts. Nothing makes you feel more adult than agreeing to exclusive terms for almost no money. Your first real heartbreak happens here: a qualifier, a collegiate final, a promotion match. You lose because one teammate misses curfew, one player's internet dies, or you panic on stage in front of maybe 80 people in a stream chat moving too fast to read. You go home sick with embarrassment, then you watch the replay anyway. This is also where education enters the picture. More than a few hundred colleges now have esports programs or clubs, and some offer scholarships. Not all are amazing, some are mostly marketing, but for you, school can become a life raft. A campus team means structure, coaching, access to better equipment, and legitimacy when your family asks what exactly you are doing with your life. Soon you face the first real fork. Chase pro play harder, or become valuable in the ecosystem around it. The people who survive longest usually learn both. Level 4. The semi-pro grind. You are roughly 18 to 21, and now the days start blurring together. Morning classes are a job, afternoon solo practice, team review at 6, scrims at 7, ranked until midnight, repeat. You are no longer telling yourself this is just for fun. You are trying to break into semi-professional or academy-level competition, and suddenly every weakness is expensive. You believe getting signed will solve your problems. It does not. A lower-tier organization might offer a small monthly salary, maybe a few $100s, maybe $1,000 to $2,000 if the scene is healthy and the title is hot. In some regions and games, it is less. In some, nothing. You may get housing at a team house that looks glamorous on social media and smells like instant noodles, stress, and unwashed ambition in real life. The tools improve: 240 Hz monitor, better graphics card, team communication software, a coach with strong opinions and no patience, a physical therapist video you promised to follow because your wrist started tingling. This is where the body enters the story: repetitive strain injuries, neck pain, dry eyes, bad sleep, energy drinks replacing breakfast. You find out the average top-level playing career can be painfully short, often peaking before 24, and many elite careers last only a couple of years at the top. Your mentor at this stage might be a coach or an older player who flamed less and lasted longer. They tell you the brutal truth. Mechanics get you noticed. Professionalism gets you rehired. Show up late twice and you are difficult. Ignore feedback and you are uncoachable. Tilt publicly and clips travel faster than apologies. You also start seeing people around the team who are building different careers. The analyst who cuts opponent tendencies into digestible notes. The social media lead turning your team's wins into sponsor impressions. The broadcast observer catching the perfect fight angle. The event admin fixing disasters no viewer ever notices. You begin to understand how enormous the machine really is. Then, finally, the call comes. An academy contract. A regional league spot. A chance to move. The dream is now close enough to damage your life properly. Level 5. The signed player. You sign your first contract and feel rich for one evening, then you do the math. Maybe the salary is $30,000 to $60,000 a year in a strong regional system. Maybe lower, depending on game, region, and organization stability. Maybe housing is included, which sounds generous until you realize privacy has become a historical concept. In the top scenes, academy and secondary league salaries vary a lot. The point is not luxury. The point is survival with a logo attached. You are now living by scrim blocks, media days, patch panic, and internal politics. Your meals are scheduled around practice. Your confidence rises and falls with one scoreboard line. A bad week becomes public. A bad month becomes roster rumors. A bad split can erase a year. You thought getting signed meant you made it. What you actually made was the cut to enter a much harsher room. The stage shock is real. Even in modest regional venues, hands shake differently when your game is on a delay, your coach is behind you, and your mistakes are being clipped in real time. You learn that under pressure, people do not rise to the moment. They fall to their habits. So you simplify. You build routines, warm-up aim, veto notes, breathing before map 1, phone away. For the first time, esports becomes a job with coworkers, bosses, and consequences. Your individual brand also starts to matter. One player with average stats and a loyal fan base can sometimes outlast a slightly stronger player with no audience and a bad reputation. It is not fair. It is business. You notice something else. Some teammates are already planning an exit. They stream after scrims. They learn editing. They take public speaking seriously. They ask the analyst questions. They know that only a minority of esports jobs belong to active competitors, and even champions age out. That realization leads to the next level, where being good is no longer enough. You have to become bankable. Level 6, the Tier 1 window. This is the level people imagine when they hear esports. You walk onto a real stage under broadcast lights. The league is major. The sponsor wall is covered in expensive logos. Your salary can jump into the low six figures in established top leagues. And for stars in certain titles and eras, it can climb far higher, even several $100,000 before prize money, streaming, and endorsements. But now every inch of your life is measurable. You believe this is the summit. In one sense it is. You have beaten terrifying odds. Out of millions of players, you are in the room. But this level teaches the hardest lesson of all. The top is less a throne than a timer. Your schedule is militarized. Scrims, film review, sponsor obligations, interviews, travel, stage rehearsals, recovery work you should be doing but sometimes skip because you are 22 and stupid in the specific way talented people become when their reflexes still bail them out. You face opponents who punish one lazy habit instantly. You face fans who love you on Sunday and call you washed by Tuesday. Prize pools can look absurd from the outside. The biggest tournaments in the world have reached more than $30 million, though only a few titles hit numbers like that, and the split is never as simple as headline readers imagine. Organization cuts, taxes, coaching staff, support staff, and plain old inconsistency mean huge tournament numbers do not guarantee a safe future. Plenty of famous names made less than viewers assumed. And then there is burnout. The travel, the pressure, the constant patch churn, the sense that if you take 1 month off, a younger player with cleaner mechanics takes your chair. You miss weddings, you miss normal weekends, you start hearing your own game in your sleep. Your family is proud now, finally, but they still ask the question under the praise. How long can this last? That question is the doorway. Because eventually, whether you win a title or not, you need a second identity before the first one expires. Level 7, the pivot. Some players resist this level until the market forces it on them. Smart ones start early. You are 23 to 27 now, maybe older if your game allows longevity, and you can feel the edges of your playing window. Your mechanics are still strong, but the younger players are cheaper, hungrier, and less injured. So you pivot while your name still matters. Maybe you become a coach, maybe an analyst, maybe a caster, maybe a content creator with enough reputation to pull viewers without clickbaiting yourself into a circus. Maybe you go into team operations, partnerships, social media, event production, or collegiate esports administration. This is the hidden ladder outsiders miss. The ecosystem needs producers, marketers, wellness staff, managers, editors, salespeople, and on-air talent. The majority of stable long-term esports work lives here, not on the stage. The money can actually become more stable. Mid-level staff roles in esports business, content, community, or analytics can land roughly in the $40,000 to $80,000 range, depending on role, region, and whether the organization is real or just wearing a blazer over chaos. Senior coaches and managers can push into six figures in the larger markets, not guaranteed, not universal. But a paycheck based on competence rather than this week's kill-death ratio feels almost suspiciously adult. The hard part is ego. You used to be the one everyone watched. Now you are reviewing someone else's mistakes, writing run-of-show notes, negotiating sponsored deliverables, or explaining to a 19-year-old phenom why sleeping 4 hours before match day is not locked in. It is just dumb. You learn to separate identity from spotlight. This is also the stage where formal education or credentials can matter more. A business degree, communications background, psychology training, video editing portfolio, production experience, even collegiate esports, admin work suddenly has weight. The people who last are usually cross-trained, and once you understand how money moves through the scene, one last door appears. Instead of helping somebody else build an organization, maybe you build one. Level 8, the operator. Now you are no longer chasing just a roster spot. You are chasing systems. You run a team, a media brand, an agency, a tournament company, a coaching business, or a hybrid studio that survives on multiple revenue streams because relying on prize money alone is how romantic people go broke. You spend your day in calls, not queues, sponsorship decks, venue quotes, merch samples, contract reviews, creator negotiations, payroll dread, insurance questions nobody warned you about. You once thought owners just sat backstage looking important. Now you know they are trying to stitch together sponsorship, ad revenue, media rights, merchandise, ticketing, coaching products, publisher relationships, and investor patience into one stable business in a volatile industry worth roughly around $1 billion in esports revenue alone, sitting inside the much larger gaming economy. This level can pay nothing for a long time or very well if you build something durable. Some operators barely survive. Some sell agencies, media brands, or tournament companies for real money. Some create collegiate pipelines, training facilities, or creator networks that outlive any one title. You are not really betting on your reaction time anymore. You are betting on taste, timing, leadership, and whether you can build trust in an industry that burns it fast. The emotional cost changes too. As a player, you are responsible for your own slump. As an operator, other people's rent may depend on your decisions. You hire people. You fire people. You answer angry sponsors. You watch one game title cool off and suddenly half your plans look flimsy. You also become the mentor you once needed. You spot the kid with the scuffed headset, the good attitude, and the dangerous amount of hope. That brings you to the final beat. What was this climb actually for? Level 9, the legacy beyond the lobby. At the end of the ladder, the clean version of the story says, you either win a world title, build a respected brand, or step into a senior industry role and live happily ever after. Real life is messier. Maybe you got the trophy. Maybe you did not. Maybe your best year paid more than anyone in your hometown thought possible. Maybe the richest season of your life was followed by silence. That happens here. But if you played this career well, you finish with something better than peak rank. You have a network, a reputation, a body that still mostly works because you finally respected sleep and ergonomics before it was too late. A resume that translates experience in broadcasting, sales, data review, coaching, operations, leadership, content, and pressure. In a field where the average playing prime is brutally short, longevity itself becomes a flex. And one day you see that old hand-me-down monitor in a closet, or a clip from your first terrible stream, or the screenshot from that $500 tournament that once felt like destiny. The object is cheap, the cost was not. You paid in weekends, friendships, risks, pride, and years of being misunderstood before anyone called it a career. That is every level of an esports career. You begin by thinking the dream is to get paid to play. If you last, you end by learning the real prize is becoming too useful to be thrown out when the game changes.